Well, hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Southern Miss Sports Today with Coach Hopson, presented by Bancorp South. It was a wonderful opening weekend for the Golden Eagles as they took on the Jackson State Tigers and came out with a 55-7 victory. Great crowd, great atmosphere at the Rock this past Saturday night, despite some early afternoon rain. But Jay, a great win for the Golden Eagles, and boy, a lot of positives coming out of that first game.
Yeah, it's always good to get number one under your belt, John. And again, what a crowd. That's something that I think people are still talking about it when the Rock's packed and it's exciting. There's just one of the greatest venues in college football. So again, we hated that the rain got our Eagle Walk kind of sidetracked, but again, it was a great crowd. I think our players fed off the crowd, and just a great atmosphere for football.
Whoever the opponent is, when you start a season, when you start a ball game, you want to get off to a quick start, and that's what you did on Saturday, right down the field to get on the board first.
We did. I thought we executed well offensively in the first half. Again, there's a few things we could have done better, but I felt like we were pretty much on point. I was really pleased with our operation early. We kind of slacked off there late second, early third. We weren't quite as sharp as we should have been, but again, I was pleased with the way we started.
Jack's a guy who kind of quiet away from the football field, but no question he's the leader when he's out there.
Yeah, he had a good game, and we know one game does not a season make, but again, I felt like he ran our football team well. I felt like he put us in the right plays and did a great job of executing. And again, it was a good day for Jack. I felt like Quez and Jalen and some of those guys had big days. And it was a good day offensively. I felt like the first half we really executed well.
Quez Watkins, as you said, what a day. 3 touchdown catches and brought a punt back 81 yards, kind of a spectacular return there. Right. That's kind of what we've kind of expecting to see out of him.
Yeah, Quez, Jalen, the Mike, I could just name names.
Right.
Tim, we have a receiving core that is capable of making big plays. So again, we need that every Saturday. We need guys to step up and be playmakers, and I think that's one thing. And I think our quarterbacks will be the first to tell you that's one thing that we have around them is guys that can do stuff with the ball in their hands. So again, that's what we have to do. We have to make sure our playmakers make plays.
You had the defense play very well. You didn't know quite what to expect from the offense at Jackson State, how Mummy there's now as a coordinator and the old air raid. So you weren't quite sure, but you really kind of shut down things early in the ball game.
We did. I felt like I thought we played we played nasty bunch football is what we did. We were physical. I thought we won the line of scrimmage. That was always good to see. I felt like some of our I'd say young guys, but some of our guys that in the back end that were getting their first starts, I thought made a lot of plays. We had some interceptions. We had some nice hits. I think DQ led the team in tackles. Kyle had a pick. Shannon had a pick. Xavier had a fumble return for a touchdown. I think that's something we did really well on defense was we had quite a few 3-and-outs, and we created a lot of turnovers Saturday. And that's critical. All great defenses create turnovers, and our guys managed to do that.
It's just one game, and number 2 is coming up. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But as you looked a little bit at the game on Saturday, where are some areas you feel like you have to get better?
Well, I feel like, John, we've got to always, maintain consistency for 60 minutes. We certainly cannot have any turnovers on offense. And I felt like, we got to continue to run the football. Be a physical football team that runs the ball well. And I felt like defensively, there's a few times we had a few missed assignments out there that we've got to make sure that doesn't happen. So there's always the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. So we certainly know we got to get better. And hopefully this will be our biggest week of improvement from week 1 to week 2. But I did see a lot of good things week 1, but we know we got to get better. So, and we know we have a tough opponent coming to town.
A good win for the Golden Eagles last Saturday night at the Rock, a 55-7 win over the Tigers of Jackson State. Coach Hop will be back with us in just a bit. We're talking Golden Eagle football today on Southern Miss Sports Today, brought to you by Bancorp South.
We're in the first few months of our first ever all apparel deal with Adidas, who is a global company It is a very positive agreement for really the institution and the athletic department. For the first time in the history of Southern Miss Athletics, we have one apparel partner. And so from an efficiency standpoint, ordering product, product transfer between teams, we've never been able to do that in the past. So there will be some efficiencies that we will benefit from by having one apparel partner. And then certainly I think the prestige of being with a company like Adidas and the benefits that we'll get from that from a marketing standpoint. Strategically, when Adidas does something for their properties, we benefit from it. So when bigger, higher resource schools are an Adidas partner and they're doing something for those properties, Southern Miss will benefit from that, and I think that's a great value. And then finally, I would tell our fan base, our coaches, our student athletes, we're going to benefit financially from this. It's a good deal for us from the amount of product that they're going to give us, but also I would tell you we're going to benefit if teams reach the NCAA tournament in their respective sports. We will get bonus product by reaching that milestone. And with our football and men's basketball program, if we reach a bowl game or the NCAA tournament, we'll get both a financial bonus and a product bonus that we will in turn invest that right back into those sports programs. That's very positive from a recruiting standpoint. I would say behind recruiting, scheduling is probably the most important thing with the football program. There's so many factors that come into scheduling. Obviously, I would like to play all schools that are in the southern region that our fans can drive to, that are interest to them. But just as important, I want to play those schools where when they come to the Rock, number one, they can drive here and they can buy tickets. And so I think it's important to do that. Now, scheduling is like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. It is extremely difficult because every school has a different philosophy. Some schools schedule 2, 3, 4 years in advance. I talk to schools sometimes that are scheduled 10 years in advance. And so while scheduling in close proximity is my preference, it doesn't always work out like that due to the other factors. But all in all, I would say I'm very much in favor of playing schools closer to Hattiesburg. There are a lot of exciting things happening with our volleyball program. One, we're under new leadership with Stephanie Radecki. Stephanie is a very accomplished head coach. She brought a really good staff with her. We added our 17th sport last spring, beach volleyball. Coach Radecki will also oversee that sports program as well. Obviously, we've got multiple facility upgrades coming in volleyball. We're coming off multiple 20-plus game wins in volleyball. I feel very good about the returning team. We've got great senior leadership with Sarah Bell, Kylie Grandy, multiple other student athletes on our volleyball program. I look forward to our volleyball program competing this year, and there are a lot of exciting times in future for our volleyball program.
Been thinking about it since I was a kid.
Mom would be so proud.
If I could do it for a living.
Using my mom's recipes to open up a cupcake shop.
For my daughter to go to vet school.
Singing karaoke in all 50 states.
Captaining my own shrimp boat.
Tell us what you dream about. With the right loan or savings plan, we can make it a reality, no matter how crazy.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Keeping you within reach of what matters most. We're Bancorp South, and we're right where you are.
You got me falling hard, sweet baby, you got me falling hard for you. And still, I felt this way before, you know it's true. And still,
When I came to Southern Miss, I think a big part of what attracted me to this program is Jon Gilbert's vision for the program and just the direction that the program was headed in. The addition of the new facility, both beach and indoor, was I think a huge part of just knowing that the volleyball programs here were important to the university and were important to the athletic department. So that was something that was really important to me. I've been at a lot of programs that have been very successful, and I think my coaching goal is always to be at a program that I feel can be successful and has those resources, and I felt like Southern Miss had those resources for volleyball. The addition of the new indoor facility is going to be just great for our program. It's going to be great for recruiting, but it's also going to be great for fans to be able to have more of a crowd atmosphere at a match. And it's going to be amazing for our student athletes. Just to have those facilities all in one area for both our beach and indoor, with the locker rooms, the film room, the weight rooms, for them to be able to train and feel like they can go in the gym at any time. It's just going to help them. It's also going to help with practice schedules, to be able to have those academic programs that they want to focus on, and us to be able to practice a little bit more flexible around their class schedules. So we're really excited about the new facility. Well, we have some amazing players returning this year, and that's another reason why it's so fun to be able to step in this role at this time. We have some great players and we have some great seniors. I think Kylie Grandy has stepped out to be an amazing returner for us, a strong outside hitter, a 6th rotation player that leads by example every day. She's an extremely hard worker. And I would say Sarah Bell stands out to me. She's a returning all-conference player, very strong setter. She has been a great leader for us as well. And I feel like our senior class is really strong, and going into any season, that's going to be helpful. I think my message to fans would be that if you come out to a match, you will come back. That's how exciting it is. It's such a fast, such a dynamic sport, and it's growing so fast. And our athletes are really impressive. And I think if you took the time to come out to a match, and we encourage all Southern Miss fans to come out to a match, create a great atmosphere for our student athletes. If you come out, you're going to enjoy it. It's a great sport. It's very competitive. Point is scored on every ball, and it's just a really fast, fun, dynamic atmosphere.
Well, growing up, football kind of became my sport because that's what we did around the neighborhood. You know, I used to go over to the next street every day. You know, I just played with the other guys that I grew up with, and you know, we used to find a yard and go play in it. You know, it was a bunch of different yards around there, and it was just a thing growing up in the neighborhood in Clarksdale, you know, where I'm from. When I think back about the time at Southern Miss, you know, I always go back to when I, you know, committed to come here and everything. And it's funny, Coach Hopson was actually at a different university, and he was recruiting me at that university, and he came back to be the defensive coordinator here, and you know, I knew exactly where I wanted to go. I tell everybody the story where he came, you know, on a Thursday at the other university recruiting me. He came back that next Tuesday in Southern Miss and said, "I never told you what school I wanted you to go to. I just said I wanted you to come play for me." So, you know, that sold me on coming here, and then the tradition here anyway was so prestigious, exactly from a defensive back standpoint. you know, a lot of guys going to the next level and everything. And, you know, just my times here, it was great, you know, and it's such a great place, Hattiesburg, love it. You know, it's so many memories that I can go back on of just from 2005 through 2009. Yeah, I have 2 sons, and you know, the biggest thing, they see pictures around the house and everything, and you know, they remember my number, and you know, when they come to practices and everything, like, Dad, he's number 18, he has your number. I'm like, well, that's not my number anymore, you know. And you know, the biggest thing, thinking about that number 18, I tell my wife, I joke about it. I'm like, hey, that number 18, you know, this past 2 years, we had 2 great number 18s that went on to, you know, the next level that did a great job. I said they outshadowed me, and it's weird because I came back in 2018 wearing the number 18. It was just, you know, 9 years later, I'm glad to be back. What's it mean to me to wear the black and gold? It means everything, you know. Just being here and being a part of the Southern Miss tradition is, you know, you're that guy that plays with a chip on your shoulder, you know, always the underdog, knowing that you have a lot to prove. You know, and that's one thing I also instill in my guys is you know, we go by takers. That's what I call my position. You're takers. Because nothing in life is given. If you want something, you have to earn it. You have to go take it. And, you know, so to me, you have to take it. You have to go earn it. And that's what Southern Miss is all about. You know, especially being a cornerback. It's called takebacks. When you know, we call them takebacks. It's a takeaway when you get it. You know, offensively, you didn't give me that. You didn't give me anything. So it's just an attitude that I try to instill in my guys. You know, that if you want something, you have to go get it. You have to take it. You know, from off the field and on the field. And to me, that's what Southern Miss is all about. Is those guys who always play with a chip on their shoulder, and you have to go earn it.
When I was in my recruiting process in high school, I didn't have too many people look at me. I had a couple, you know, smaller time offers, but I wanted to go D1 ultimately. And I mean, my dad's always talked about, you know, Southern Miss, you know, and the reputation. And we came here and visited, and my major was business, my undergrad was. And they kept telling us about, you know, the business school and how it was accredited. And it's, you know, it's this really nice, you know, going to be this new building they're going to have and all that. And on top of that, the reputation for the football team as well. And we came here, and when we were leaving, after, you know, I looked around the campus and everything, my dad and I kind of made the decision, like, this is the place where I want to go. And so Dane Brown actually messaged me and said that they had a spot open for fall camp, and I needed to be here in about 5 days. So just kind of packed all my stuff up that week, and I got here, I think it was July 30th, came to the meeting July 31st and started fall camp August 1st, and never looked back. Growing up, I played, I did football, basketball, baseball, track, and for a brief little time in high school, I did powerlifting for like a year or two just with my friends. I kind of thought about just doing football. Probably my sophomore, junior is more when I became more heavier into football. I really never thought about playing, or I never thought I really had a chance to play in college until my high school coach actually told me, I think it was the end of my sophomore year, he told me that he actually could see me playing football in college. And that was one of the first times I was like, oh, whoa, like I could actually do this. So, you know, I still played all the sports all through high school. I played every single one of them. And I guess I'm more focused on football throughout the summer, you know. After, you know, basketball or something work out, I'd still go lift, I'd do something like that. I just, you know, that's when I became more focused on football. When I first came to Southern Miss and I had walked on, I knew absolutely nobody The only person I even remotely talked to was Dane Brown, which was the recruiting coordinator at the time. And, you know, I guess I just had to find my way for a while because, you know, I had to make new friends. I had lived in the same town for 12 years, you know, so I had the same friends for the most part. So that was a whole new process for me. You know, college football as a whole was a whole new process. The first day of camp, that just opened my eyes to a whole new world, you know. And then when Coach Hopson got here, which was my third year here, you know, I had to start the whole process over essentially with, you know, showing Coach that I can work hard and I know what I'm doing, and, you know, I just had to basically show him all of that. So when he got here, it was, I guess, you know, a whole new process, but I mean, I had already kind of been through it with Coach Munkin, so, you know, I just really just had to keep my head down and just stay the path that, you know, I was doing before, and eventually I just earned a scholarship. Always growing up, I always want to be the kid, you know, whatever position isn't available and you need someone there, you know, I can either learn it, I've already learned it, or I can, you know, I can give it my effort, all my effort. So that's kind of also the mantra I've had coming into Southern Miss. You know, I came in and I played outside linebacker, then I went to safety, and I kind of went back and forth between those two positions, and then I had Coach Pollard, which was the running back coach at the time, had called me up and was like, hey, we need you to play running back, which ironically is what I came here to play at Southern Miss when I first came here. And then I went there, and then they, you know, we had some tight ends, H-backs go down, so they're like, hey, Colin, you want to play this? And I'm like, of course I want to play this, you know. So I did that. Special teams, of course, whatever I can do to get on the field, and now I'm here at tight end, which is, I mean, I'm fine with it, just trying to get on the field.
And back on Southern Miss Sports Today with Coach Jay Hopson, presented by Bancorp South. Golden Eagles coming off that 55-7 win over Jackson State. Now they turn their attention to the Warhawks of Louisiana Monroe. We're going to talk about them in a minute, Hop, but one of the guys we've got a feature on this week is, to me, one of the neat stories on this team. That's Colin Kilcrease. There's a guy who, you know, kind of walked on, didn't have an idea what the future might hold for him at Southern Miss, but he's done everything you guys have asked him to play, or everything you've asked him to do. He's played a lot of different positions, and finally now, as a senior, he's getting a chance to be a part of things.
Well, Colin is that guy that you're exactly right, John. He's done it all. You know, he's been he started out just trying to make the team as a walk-on, was a great scout team player for us, and we had some opportunities on special teams, and we gave Colin the opportunity to go out and help us, and he excelled there. And then some opportunities arose on offense for him, and he excelled there. And now Colin's a senior. He's a young man that has just done anything and everything we've asked of him, so I'm really happy for him, and it was a great joy to be able to put him on scholarship and do those things for him, because he's deserved it, and we're certainly glad he's a Golden Eagle.
We also talked earlier with Athletic Director Jon Gilbert. He talked a little bit about scheduling. What's your scheduling philosophy, and how closely do you work with Jon to try to put together the future schedule?
Well, Jon's great to work with. I tell you, as a head football coach, you just love the fact that you have an athletic director that consults with you in the scheduling process. I think that's critical, because as football coaches, you know, you have a plan for your program and where you want to see your program go and how you want to get there. And again, one thing I think in the scheduling process that was big for me was trying to get the local games. And you know, we've scheduled Jackson State and Alcorn State and Southern and Tulane and Mississippi State and South Alabama. There's local games in the next, you know, 5 to 10 years that you're going to see a lot of local football games. I think that's important. I think that's like you mentioned earlier, our fan base wants to see that. It brings in big crowds. It makes football exciting, makes it fun. So Jon is a joy to work with, and he's a guy that, again, he's been a coach, so I think he understands kind of all the emotional stress and struggles that coaches go through, and it's a, you know, as coaches, we're always kind of, you know, it seems like you always got your gloves up, you know, because it's part of the battle you face day in and day out on and off the field. But again, he's just a joy to work with, and has done a great job in our scheduling department.
Well, one of those local games is this weekend when you take on Louisiana Monroe, the Warhawks, and we went over there last year. That was kind of a, you know, a big battle with those guys. Eagles wound up on top. Talk about the game with them this weekend.
Well, you know, Coach Viator's done a great job there. We know they're an outstanding football team. Like you mentioned, last year was a battle. Again, we expect the same. We know it's going to be a 60-minute football game. We know we got a really good football team coming to the Rock. And again, I sound like a worn-out record, but it is the truth. Another great team's coming into the Rock, and we got to prepare ourselves to get ready for 60 minutes of hard-fought football.
Hop, congratulations on win number 1. Let's go get number 2 this week.
Thanks, Coxie.
All right, Coach Jay Hopson and the Golden Eagles against the Warhawks of Louisiana Monroe on Saturday night. Another Saturday night at the Rock. Nothing like it when you come to a game at the Rock and watch the Golden Eagles play. Thanks for everybody for being with us. We will see you next time with another inside look into Golden Eagle football.
Been thinking about it since I was a kid.
Mom would be so proud.
If I could do it for a living,
Using my mom's recipes to open up a cupcake shop.
For my daughter to go to vet school.
singing karaoke in all 50 states.
Captain in my own shrimp boat.
Tell us what you dream about. With the right loan or savings plan, we can make it a reality, no matter how crazy.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Keeping you within reach of what matters most. We're Bancorp South, and we're right where you are.
I am more than just your local pharmacist. We eat at the same restaurants, and we give back to our community. At Rogers Family Pharmacy, we are dedicated to keeping you and your family happy and healthy. Download the Health Mart app to your mobile device and easily enter your refills, pill reminders, and so much more. Rogers Family Pharmacy, where we treat you like family. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
The Rogers Family Pharmacy.
Hey Southern Miss fans, it's Toby Barker, Mayor of Hattiesburg. Mickey Spagnola once wrote, "If you're going to war and you get to choose first, choose Southern Mississippi. Always choose Southern Mississippi. Don't fight Southern Mississippi, because no matter how hard you fight, those folks will fight harder." His words capture the character of our institution and our city. We here in Hattiesburg are writing a new story, one where we rise to our challenges with great excitement, one where we push our city to reach its potential, and most importantly, one where there's real partnership between the University of Southern Mississippi and the city of Hattiesburg. Southern Miss is vital to our city's success, from the quality of life it provides through athletics and the arts to the talent it cultivates in the classroom. We share a common destiny. Hattiesburg is proud to be Mississippi's college city, and we hope as we go forward you'll join us in supporting our Golden Eagles this season as they go to the top.